Pop roach. Best snack. All right. Hello and welcome. I am Zerbraxi. What in the world is Ghostrunner, and should you care? Well, I'll answer the first question and you can answer the second. What is this game? Well, I just finished playing the Ghostrunner demo, and first off, wow, that demo is very short. I'm talking under 15 minutes. So there's a chance I will actually talk for more than the demo is, but I'm going to try to make that not happen. But anyway, so what is the game first, and then the good and the bad, and we'll go from there. So first, it is a cyberpunk aesthetic where you're basically ninja running and playing almost like Katana Zero. I get a very big 3D cyberpunk Katana Zero vibe where you hit enemy in one hit and they die, and if you get hit, you die in one hit. So I loved Katana Zero from last year, so I'm definitely down for another like higher res first person kind of vibe here. So definitely going to give it a shot. So let's go ahead and take a look at movement and things that I think does well. So movement overall feels smooth. Things feel relatively snappy. There's a lot of platforming, which is very precise, and you get a lot of mobility options here. There's this really cool slide ability that you get when you're going down ramps. You'll actually increase speed, almost like if you're going to roll into a ball in like Sonic Adventure or Sonic in general. There's also this dash mechanic, which does give you a brief like forward dash. It's not very far, but it allows you to close in distance on enemies very effectively, and this will become very, very valuable in the fact that, well, you die in one hit. So if enemies are shooting at you, you need to be able to close that distance really fast. And there's another mechanic that's tied to the dash, which is basically like a focus. Essentially, if you hold down the dash button, what you can actually do is you kind of slow down time a little bit, and it allows you to move a strafe kind of left and right and allow you to kind of dodge the projectiles. And then when you let go of that focus, you'll dash in the direction you're facing. So it does give you this kind of super cool ninja vibe, essentially, where you're moving around a projectile and then landing right into your enemy and being able to kill them. There's also a grappling whip, which I swear is straight out of Metroid Prime. It's like the first thing I thought of. Like the icon doesn't have the little claw when you like grapple like a Metroid Prime does, but I swear when you see this in the footage, it's exactly the same. It's great. I'm okay with that. Anything to take off Metroid Prime, I am in. The best way to play this game is clearly designed to be around non-stop movement. Continue going as fast as possible, and being able to capitalize on that feels incredible. When you go through and solve these, I like to consider these combat scenarios in these types of games basically puzzles. When you solve these puzzles and it feels like that entire time, it's just like start, go. Like it's kind of, that's what especially when I was playing Katana Zero, it's basically start, high octane nonsense, go. And when you eventually figure out how to destroy everything in the room and be able to overcome this puzzle, man, is it like the most satisfying and adrenaline pumping thing in the world. They've already shown a really good job of like multiple paths in these scenarios. There's already been several different ways in which to solve each problem here, and I tried to purposely like force myself to take different paths, and if I failed, then I would try to go down another path. Normally, I would try to execute a path maybe a little bit better and then vary off if it wasn't working, but for the sake of this demo and try to get a better feel and vibe for the game, I definitely just tried to get to every path as possible. And every approach feels genuinely different from the demo that they've shown so far. And if the game can capitalize on that as a whole, basically for, a good experience, that would be awesome. Something else that's freaking awesome, by the way, is the music. Okay, I'm a sucker for music. I feel like I talk about music in every video I ever do. I have to like address it. It's such a big part of games, and it's such a big part of gaming for me at least, and I listen to OSTs on the side anyway, and this is a game that if the music gets a good vibe here and continues with what it has, I would definitely be listening to this OST in the background of doing a lot of other things. Especially it has an incredible kind of cyberpunk / kind of tech-noir / synthwave kind of vibe, and it really fits this aesthetic really, really, really well. There's also something really cool. You can't parry, at least not in the demo, you can't parry projectiles, but I love skill-based mechanics in games, and in this game, if an enemy is shooting at you, you can full block the projectile by attacking at the moment that the bullet would hit you, and you'll actually block and basically deflect the hit, which is at least very satisfying. Again, a lot of other games have this in this type of game, and it still just never gets old. It just feels so good. It just feels that much better when you know you perfectly timed that block and you nailed it. It's one of the reasons why I think Sekiro is so satisfying, for example. One of the other things that this game does, it uses the color yellow for a lot. And it seems to be, yellow is like the mirror's edge red. It seems to be like yellow is the direction you're supposed to go. It's the leading color. It's it's the emphatic color, where something unique is around, or something unique you should take a look at as the player is going to be coded in the color yellow. It may be a downside to some extent, if you're talking about maybe some sort of artistic integrity here, but it very much gives a Deus Ex vibe, and I honestly, I can't get Deus Ex out of the mind when I'm looking at how, like, the color composition of this game. Very clearly Deus Ex, and like I said, that may muddy it a little bit and take away from its artistic integrity a bit, but overall, I think it works. I mean, Deus Ex is great, so yeah, I mean, take from what's great. That makes sense. Now, there are some things that are bad. First off's the combat. Unfortunately, everything around combat feels good. The actual combat feels really bad. There is absolutely, like, no weight to any of your attacks, to any of your swings. If you swing at an enemy and you miss, you can't tell the difference between the miss and the hit. There is literally no feedback to any of the swings. Any attack that you can do in the game, you don't know it lands unless you see the person's body, like, get split in half. There's no feedback at all. I was going to try it with the controller and see if there's at least a rumble, maybe, when it hits. I played it on a mouse and keyboard, and there is absolutely nothing when you land a strike, and it's really upsetting. There really needs to be something. There needs to be, I don't know, a screen shake, some sort of stagger, some sort of weightiness to the screen, some sort of maybe particle effect. There needs to be something that shows and feels good. Like, sound effect, essentially, would be huge here in order to make it known that the player actually landed this strike and killed someone. Because if there's going to be multiple enemies at times, which is going to happen eventually during the actual gameplay here, you're not going to know. If you're trying to, like, maybe make a quick focus dash swing and insta turn, there's a good chance you may swing, think you landed because you're in, like, the a close enough distance, and miss, and you would never know. There's also, like, it needs a lot more feedback, basically, for a lot of options. The dash feels fine, the focus feels fine, but, like, wall running's great as far as, like, a mechanic and how it operates. Like, it feels precise, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like you're doing it. Half the time you can't tell if you actually grappled, like, or, like, latched to the platform or not. And if it wasn't for the fact that the platforming in the demo was pretty easy, if it wasn't for that fact, I would be a little more conscious of this, but I can only imagine when the platforming gets way more complicated, that not knowing when you're latched to the wall run is really bad. There needs to be some sort of clear audio cue, whether it's the feet hitting the side, whether it's your actual steps need to be a little more prominent when you're running on the metal grating. There's a lot of things they can do. It's just their feedback in general. Biggest thing for this demo that I've gotten from it so far as a negative is that it's game feel. The game feel is off in a lot of things, especially with some of the mobility and some of the combat, which is a shame because the actual mechanics themselves operate great. So that's that. So I'm looking forward to this. It could be fun. I don't know anything about it besides what I played in the demo, but I do want to give it a shot. I loved Katana Zero, like I said last year, and this feels like a first-person cyberpunk ninja sort of vibe that is a very similar type of game, and I'm in for that case alone. So we'll see how this goes. Let me know if you know anything about the game. Let me know if you have any thoughts about what I've said. So without further ado, though, that's that. I don't know why I'm a doing. I should be a don'tin'. I should be a leaving. So anyway, that's that. Thank you very much for watching. I'm really bad at outros like normal. I'm gonna keep saying that until the end of time. Bye bye.